The John Burke sharpening system. This one's 30 years old, but the ones you buy today are the same as this one. It's tried and true, works well. One of the things I want to show you, the only custom thing we did, two custom things. One of them is I added this. Main reason, we're doing a sharpening class. People would sharpen down here. It kicks the knives out, and we don't want anyone hurt. So we put this here so they sharpen on the top, so if it moves, it goes away from them. It's the only reason this bar is here. It's not a guide. I put my hand on it, but I'm sharpening like this. Okay? We have, in this case, we have 5 wheels. 150 grit sandpaper for the coarse wheel. This one's probably a 320 for the fine wheel. Here's our pulley. This one's a leather. You can see the leather strap here. We use a green honing stick. The green is the harder one for that. We also have a hard denim wheel. The hard denim wheel here is really hard. It doesn't sink in. And we have a softer wheel. See this here? See how soft that is? Now I'm going to turn this around. I want you to see something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 stitches here. On the 5 stitches, that allows it to be the floppy wheel. On the hard wheel, you're going to have a hard time seeing it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 stitches on there. These are an 1/8 inch apart. This remains hard and will not get all fluffy and fan out like the soft ones. I use the hard one for the outside, soft one for the inside. Hard, soft. Okay? Now, all the Burke systems are literally geared down to run at a slower speed. So, I've got a 1725 RPMs, 1,725 RPM motor, has a 1-inch pulley on the bottom shaft. I have a 6-inch pulley here that takes it down to roughly 300 RPMs. So when I turn this on, it's only rotating at 300 RPMs per minute. Okay? One thing when we sharpen, and I want to talk about this, we're sharpening here, and I'm going across there like that. People are so afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of. These are my hands on here, okay? All it does is get them dirty. This isn't gonna hurt you, okay? There's nothing to be afraid of here. The only thing to be afraid of is that pulley right there. But don't worry, this isn't gonna hurt you. This will hurt you, okay? So you have to hold on to that chisel. But I always have people start, when they first get to this, stick your hand on the wheel. Well, I don't want to get hurt. Put your hand on the wheel. It's not going to hurt you. Okay? So that takes the fear factor away. So when we start on this, first thing we're going to do, I'm going to pull out my stick. I think it's easier to hold it up against the black there. Okay? Here's my chisel. Oh, this one's rounded. Kind of like that. I want it like this, so I need to flatten that. Now let me show you something on the Burke system. On the Burke system, when I look at this, I only have a very small contact point here. And so the tip is up. I can put my fingernail under there, but I'm resting on the heel. If I want that flat bevel, I'm not going to do it here. I'm going to switch to a flat surface. So I'm going to go to the work sharp, so that it's flat. And I have this flat system here. So what am I going to do to make sure I get it flat? Well, let's look at our bevel. I go back to my stick. I want that long bevel. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to draw a line. I want that bevel to go that far down, right to there. I'm going to color the whole chisel with the marker there. That's where I want it to be flat. So now I'm going to take that and put my eyeballs on so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to turn that on. .580 RPMs. So that's running slower. I'm going to take this and I'm going to carve that down. I always keep a little water here if it gets hot. Now, I'm going to go over this again. The closer your hands are to the cutting edge, the more control you have. So I'm holding my fingers here. I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to hold this down here. I'm going to lock my arms in. So I've got this tight here. I'm going to come across. You can see I'm towards the heel there. I have a little line there of blue, bigger line there. That means I have a curve, it's rounded, and I want a flat. So I'm going to go through here. I got my hands down here right on that blade. Okay, see how far I am? Now I'm a 1/16 inch away from the cutting edge. Still have that line on the heel. What I'm doing is flattening out the roundness. And if I'm making that flat like that, that's how much I have to take off to make that flat. And that's what I'm doing right now. Okay, still working on that. There's no heat here because I'm using 120 grit diamond stone. But my hands are there to tell me if it's too hot for my hands, which is going to be about 250 degrees, then I plunge it. The melting point for steel is in the thousands. So I know I'm not ruining that edge.
And that's the number 2 or 3. That's not a flat chisel you're dealing with, is that right?
Pardon me?
Is that a flat chisel?
This is a flat chisel.
Is it a 2 or is it absolutely flat?
This is about a 2 or a 3.
Great, okay.
Okay, now I'm there. If I want, I can go back, color this up to see where I'm going. You can see I've taken that off. I'm almost to the edge now. I want you to see the flatness. That's difficult, but that's very flat there. I'm almost right at the edge. Okay, I'm at the edge. I want to stress something here. I'm not doing you don't see me doing that. I make a surface cut. I'm there. I've got my edge, and I'm staying there until it does the cut I want. So I'm down there. Okay, you can't see this. I'm looking at the edge there, and you can see how that edge is rolling over?
Put it on against your black shirt.
And so it's starting to roll. My eyes are focused on that edge when it rolls. That's when I'm looking for that wider edge. So I'm going to go through here. Okay, so I've got a wire edge forming on there. It's all the way across. Nice flat. Okay.
So just to clarify, that's a standard glass wheel on a work sharp, double 120 on one side and another grit, finer grit on the other side.
Yes.
And we'll trust that, right?
Yeah, let me just do that. We're gonna, for time's sake. Okay, so
Yeah.
I have it there. Here's a spoon gouge that has no bevel at all on it. So I'm gonna go through I want a bevel like that. Okay? So I'm gonna go back here, hit that on. Now, lock my arms in, just using my wrists. I use these 3 fingers to guide it. My right hand is turning the dial on the radio. I'm in my car, I'm turning this back and forth. You can see where I sharpen that. It's taking the blue off. Okay? And I'm creating that bevel in there. So, my arms never left my side. My left hand is holding that, and I'm rotating that chisel all the way around. Okay? I'm getting the wire edge on there. Okay. I have my bevel. You can't see this, but there's a wire edge on there all the way around. Okay, so I've got a bevel, a wire edge, that's flat. It's not rounded over. Okay, I'm done with the work sharp. I'm going to come back over to the Burke system. Can I flip this over, go to a 320, put a leather wheel on here, put a cloth wheel on? Yes, I can do all of that. And I have all those pieces. As a carver, I don't have time. I want to, like I said, I'm carving. Gee, I need to touch that up. Boom, I'm there. So I can take this now, and same thing. I'll put my hand here, but I'm not doing this. My arms are locked in. I haven't changed. I'm turning the dial on the radio, putting this on here. See those little sparks? That means I'm cutting steel. Okay? If you don't have any sparks, you're not cutting steel. I'm keeping that same angle.
And your eyes are focused on the edge where it makes contact with the wheel.
Correct. I'm not doing this all the time. With confidence, I know I'm on the edge. I see it cutting. It's getting a little hot in my hand, so I go ahead and plunge it in the water. Look at that bevel. Very clean all the way around. You can see it was rounded before. True bevel, long bevel, real clean. See that edge? See that wire edge there? See it glistening back and forth? So there's my wire edge. I was probably not able to see that there. You notice it's more on the sides, not as much in the middle. So I can keep going back and forth to try and get it in the middle, or I'm just going to go to the middle. I want it the same angle. I'm just going right in the middle here. I'm not even going to the edges. And now I've got a wire edge in the middle. So as they come through here, Larry can tell you, he can see it with his eye. When you see that wire edge all the way around, I'm pushing it with my finger. I can move it down this way and I can push it. So I have a consistent wire edge all the way around there. Okay? That's where I want to be. There's no reason to go to this one. This is the 320. Here's the leather. That polishes it up. I've got a hard wheel, soft wheel. If you hear that noise in the background, that's the weed blowers outside. Okay? So I'm going to go to the hard wheel. In the hard wheel, so I have the wire edge. I'm on the hard wheel, doing the outside, and it's folding the wire edge inside. Now I go to the soft wheel, and it's pushing the wire edge outside, and you can literally see it there. So I'm going outside, inside, outside, inside.
And there's no compound on those wheels.
No. These are new wheels, so I'm getting a tremendous amount of dust coming off there. Okay, so now I've knocked those wire edges off. There's a little bit on there. I can feel it with my finger. There's a rough spot right there. So I'm going to take that. Just going to sand that rough spot off. Go back here. And I'm holding onto this chisel because I'm putting a lot of pressure on there, knocking that wire edge off. Okay, now I've knocked that wire edge off. I'm going to polish this up. And I've got some compound on there. It's a green compound. You can see it on there now. So I'm polishing it. Now, look at my arms. My posture hasn't changed from there to here. It's in the same place. I'm polishing that up. I'm going to buff it up here. Why do you buff it? That's a mirror finish. The smoother that's polished, the easier it glides through the wood. There's the cut. There's the feel. So you don't see any cuts there. That's the feel, okay? Nice and smooth. Now, same thing here. On the work sharp, I flatten it out. I'm going to go through here. Okay, I've gone ahead and I've sharpened that up. So I've colored that in blue again. I'm going from the work sharp to the Burke system. Lock my arms in. Hold it here. So once again, I've from the workshop where it's flat, going to the Burke, I mark that. And you should be able to hear here. Okay, so I'm going to go on there. I'm putting it down. I've got my arms locked. Going across. You can see the sparks coming off. You can see where I've taken that off. See how flat that is? I can maintain that flatness even on the Burke wheel as I'm going through. I'm running my fingers to see if I have a wire edge on there. My eyes are focused right on that edge. Okay? So I've got that on there. Okay, so now I'm going to go to this hard wheel. I'm going back and forth. I can go to the floppy wheel, do the inside, because this is so flat. I'm going to have Larry look at that. You can see that wire edge folded over. Mm-hmm. On this is so flat, I could go here on a flat hard wheel and I can just turn it over and just do it back and forth because that is flat. I don't have to get inside the flute of the wheel.
You can also, you're using the edge of that
Correct.
wheel also.
One of the things on these wheels, they're 2 half-inch wheels put together, so there's a hollow spot in the center. I want you to notice it's not 4 times and it's over. I probably went through back and forth 10 times. And I've got just a little touch there. I can just move it back and forth with my finger if I needed to. Now I'm going to polish this. Just a touch on this side because it's a flat wheel. I can just hit it there. Going back to the hard wheel here, just to buff it. Okay, end grain, very lightly. If you can't cut that, that is as smooth can be. Okay? I'm cutting right off the top of this end grain, and I want it to be, I want the curl. You can see that, I mean, there is no sanding required on that. That's as smooth can be. That's what you're going for. That's sharp. Now I know that is razor sharp. You can test that with your finger to see. Razor sharp. It's got an edge on there, and it cuts beautifully on that wood. Okay? So let's go ahead and, once again, anybody can cut with the grain. You want to cut against end grain. Let's look at this one's probably a number 8. This one happens to be an Ashley Isles. Ashley Isles, another British company. Picked this up in New York City when I was there. There was actually a distributor, an Ashley Isles distributor there. This one, shorter bevel. This one I use a lot for pounding. To sharpen that up, I don't need to go there because the bevel is established. I'm just going to go here, lock my arms in, use my fingers here. See the sparks? I'm going slow, not fast. Okay? Really flat bevel on there. You can see the flat bevel. I can see the wire edge already starting to come through. It's a little shiny spot right there, which means I haven't gotten down to the edge yet. I'm just going to go there. That's clean all the way across. I'm going to run my finger on there. I can feel a little bit of a bevel. a little bit of a wire edge on there. I have a little bit of coloration on there, but the steel is so thin, it's microscopically thin, I'm not worried about that. Okay, I can work it here. I'm going to go into this floppy roller here. Now, Larry's asked about, do you ever put compound on there? Yes, I can put compound there. It cuts a little quicker, but I usually don't put a lot on there. It just gums it up a little bit. But I can go in there and use the compound, cleans it up a little bit.
What are the specs of those two buffing wheels?
Specs.
Roughly. One is denim.
This is a denim, this is cotton. I mentioned to Larry, I have used a felt wheel. They're horrible because you're buffing in a cloud of felt. It's like you're inside a cloud. I've got all this felt coming out all over and I'm sneezing like crazy. Even this, these are new wheels, but look how much cotton I've pulled off there. That's a lot. Okay, so
what is this block here for?
this block here is when we put this in our cupboard, we tip it on end. And this is just a foot that it sits on. Okay, so now I've taken that wire edge off both sides. I'm just gonna buff it up. I'm not going inside the fluke. Just buffing it up there. Polishing it on the hard wheel. Going on the center of the soft wheel. Gonna take my block. There's my curl. You can see that. So smooth, smoother than you can sand it. Let's go across the end grain. There's that. Smooth, you don't feel any of the ridges of the end grain on there. By the way, look where my hands are. Closer you are to the cutting edge, the more control you have. I could not do that back here. I'd probably stab myself. So I'm going to be right here, pulling it like that. Okay? So, there's that.
What are the common mistakes that people make using the Burke system? And
No confidence. So, they don't have any confidence. They start out here. They take their chisel. They mark it. They're so afraid. Every time I do that, I'm starting all over again. And I'm all over. I started here, I'm over here, I'm over here. Again, this won't hurt me. My hands are on here. This can't hurt me. I'm taking this. My hands are here to steady it. I'm down here. My arms are locked in. See how slow I'm going? Okay? Or they're doing this. Way too fast. Slow and steady. Consistency.
keep your eyes on the contact point.
Yes. See how slow I'm going?
And you're rotating with your right hand.
Yes, I'm turning the dial. Okay? Going slow, turning the radio dial, just like that, all the way around. Okay? With confidence, I know that's not going to hurt me, so let's just go slow, take my time. There you go.